The September 11th attacks left the Pentagon functional and the U.S. military apparatus intact, yet the event triggered a surge in global data traffic that signaled a transformation in public consciousness. Al-Qaeda optimized the hijackings for global broadcast, treating the event as an act of asymmetric communication. The operation relied on a precise media multiplier effect. A 16-minute gap between the strikes gave newsrooms enough time to focus their cameras, guaranteeing live global coverage of the second impact. Newsrooms scrambled local helicopters to capture the destruction, securing an immediate, real-time global audience. The event bypassed traditional state media filters, allowing external networks like Al Jazeera to broadcast the visual evidence directly to the world. To deconstruct modern asymmetric warfare, we have to analyze the attacks as a systematic mechanism of perception management. The strikes on the World Trade Center stand as the most complex execution of a strategy engineered over a century ago, one we can map, quantify, and reverse engineer using modern psychological models. This control panel visualizes the extended parallel process model. It tracks severity, the magnitude of harm, and susceptibility, its likelihood. Against this, it measures self-efficacy and response efficacy. When threat is high but efficacy is low, subjects enter fear control, triggering panic or submission. Insurgent groups actively target these specific variables. The Taliban, for example, distributed propaganda leaflets like these to visually delegitimize opposing leaders. The accompanying text amplifies the perceived severity of the threat to the civilian population. In Nigeria, Boko Haram implements a binary fear appeal through forced cash loans. They offer civilians money to act as informants, forcing the target to choose between compliance or the high severity of certain death. Insurgents use violence to manipulate these variables, forcing civilian submission through a state of fear control. This manipulation blueprint was codified in the 1870s. Following the suppression of the Paris Commune, the political left fractured under the devastation. Mikhail Bakunin influenced a radical anarchist faction that demanded the immediate, violent destruction of all state power. They developed a doctrine they called propaganda of the deed. Its core premise argued that symbolic violence speaks louder than theoretical pamphlets, serving as a creative desire for systemic destruction. The doctrine relies on two primary mechanics. In 1878, Vera Zasulich shot a Russian general to trigger cognitive rupture, a symbolic strike creating a psychological vacuum. This gave her the space to use her criminal trial as a broadcast platform for her ideology. The second mechanic is state goading. By executing high-profile attacks against symbolic targets, the perpetrators force the state to retaliate with severe, draconian measures. This strategy scaled globally. Assassins killed high-ranking targets across Europe and the Americas, including U.S. President William McKinley. The original propaganda of the deed was designed to bait the government into employing disproportionate violence, exposing the state's moral weakness and destroying its legitimacy. Ultimately, the 19th century anarchists lost the information war. They relied on ad hoc printing presses that security services easily detected and closed down, denying them mass distribution to control their narrative. This graph charts the era's power dynamic. Governments held a monopoly on public information, keeping insurgent reach suppressed. That held until digital technology replaced multiplied messaging with exponential messaging. The state's monopoly collapses, while insurgent reach spikes. Modern perpetrators weaponize the weight of the media against the media to maximize their impact. Equipped with global feedback loops, modern insurgents bypass official state histories. They inject their visual evidence directly into the public consciousness, instantly rewriting the narrative of an event in real time. The 9/11 strikes achieved the exact psychological goal the 19th century anarchists envisioned. Al-Qaeda successfully broke the state's monopoly on the narrative of the deed. Neutralizing the payload of asymmetric violence requires a government to provide stability without falling into the trap of overreaction. We can see early attempts at this in a declassified 1952 CIA memorandum. The document analyzed a coordinated North Korean and Soviet propaganda campaign, accusing the U.S. military of deploying biological warfare. The CIA recognized that the campaign exploited the local population's inherent fear of plague to drive the severity variable to the maximum, while leveraging resentment to strip away civilian efficacy. Returning to the EPPM framework, the CIA recommended restoring the population's response efficacy. They advised the government to take active, visible credit for local disease and pest control efforts to prove they were managing the threat. Contrast that careful calibration with early operations in Afghanistan. The U.S. dropped yellow humanitarian food rations that were visually identical to unexploded yellow cluster bombs. The Taliban used this error to warn civilians the food was poisoned, destroying the credibility of the aid and erasing its efficacy. Effective counter-propaganda relies on providing a population with credible means to exercise agency, shifting them from fear control back into danger control. Modern domestic security programs like the UK's Project Servitor apply this exact principle. The campaign builds self-efficacy by giving civilians specific, actionable pathways to report suspicious activity. In an environment defined by information asymmetry, public trust determines whether a population actively manages a danger or submits to fear. From the first anarchist bombs in 19th century Europe to the synchronized hijackings of 2001, the core mechanics of symbolic violence have remained identical. Neutralizing this tactic requires the state to dismantle the psychological architecture of the fear that follows the deed, moving beyond kinetic responses. In the 21st century, the primary reality is the power to manage perception.